We continue to discover the National Library of Serbia. Follow me. We will tell you now a story about a special place, the Conservation Laboratory of the National Library of Serbia, where all monuments of written culture heritage created on paper and parchment from the Middle Ages until today are protected, conserved and restored. This laboratory is also the Central Conservation Laboratory for paper and parchment materials for culture institutions from the entire territory of the Republic of Serbia. The main task of Conservation Laboratory is to take care of the rich collection of the National Library of Serbia, which has approximately 300 oldest Cyrillic manuscripts, 100 incunables, a valuable and rich collection of the old printed books, old photos, maps and other historically important non-book material on paper and parchment. The oldest and most important manuscript book preserved in the laboratory is Miroslav's Gospel from the 12th century, which is also the oldest preserved book in the National Library of Serbia. In addition to that, we already mentioned the Belgrade Parimenik, the Serbian medieval codex from the first quarter of the 13th century. The National Library of Serbia has archival material about Nobel Prize winner Ivo Andrić, archival material from the personal fund of Nikola Tesla, drawings by Petar Lubarda, a collection of manuscripts of the Dečani Monastery, and many, many more amazing books and other non-book materials.
Hello. Welcome everyone to the final closing session of the LIBER 50th annual conference. Next slide, please. So this is the closing session and we will have a short program for you. But first, again, for the last time, the session ground rules. Next slide. This session is recorded and we will share the recordings and slides afterwards. We don't have a Q&A in this session, but if you have any pending urgent questions, you can type them in the chat. And if you have any technical issues, please close your tab and try again using the link we provided. So my name is Astrid van Russen. I'm LIBER's Executive Director. We have a short program starting with some closing remarks by the LIBER President, Janet. And then we go over to the closing remarks from our colleagues at the University of Belgrade Library. And then we invite you to next year's conference in 2022, which will take place in Odense. Janet, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Astrid. Let's say next slide. Now that we are at the closing of this 50th LIBER conference, Belgrade and online, I'd like to look a bit beyond with you. Lots of topics were discussed during this conference. We had a wonderful offer also of workshops. Hope you could find a place for the topics you preferred, as many workshops were fully booked quite quickly. I'd like to thank here also Elko again for his wonderful visuals. This, the one you see on the slide, is the one from the opening speech of Thomas about text as a service, a very interesting item. One thing that strikes me is when listening to you and the keynote speakers we had and all the presenters, is we are good when we cooperate, when we share and we discuss. In a fully connected world, especially in the field of knowledge, of course, managing complexity and to try to do it alone is not really rewarding. So we are really better when we cooperate and discuss. What I will take with me is that also that our education role is a paramount thing, especially because there are still gaps between the policies, some of which we did put into place, in fact, in the last years. But there is a gap between these policies and the reality or the realities we are living in today. So there is still room for innovation, and initiatives are still welcome to close these gaps in the years to come. Next slide. For this, the LIBER strategy work 2023-2027 is a very important tool. The strategy task force has developed a draft vision statement for research libraries in 2027. It's what you see here. The vision statement contains the 6 elements. The research library as trusted hub, offering state-of-the-art services, shaping open science, being a space for dialogue, and open to society. Next slide. About 70 people participated in the digital knowledge cafe, which we did on Wednesday, and discussed these 6 elements in separated breakout groups. Here you see the most remarkable outcomes. The vision elements in 27's research libraries that were most appreciated are trusted hubs for their usual communities, collaborating with each other and with stakeholders in the role of change agents and facilitators. This was the best liked by participants. They added that the library has also a role as experts. And one of the strategic priorities, telling the story of the library, was seen as very important by the participants. In various breakout groups on different elements of the vision, the wording "bridge to society" came up. This was seen as important in the discussions about services, about open science, and about open to society. Rights and values was also thoroughly discussed. Some thought it was a good idea to work on those in a separate working group. Others stated that it was relevant to all other elements of the vision and shouldn't be seen as a separate issue. Additionally, it was remarked that sometimes you have to find the balance between the different rights, such as author rights and user rights. Other remarks were that collection as data, research data should be a priority, and a general discussion about the overlap and relation between these 6 elements of the vision, that they should be merged at some point to have a more simple vision statement was said, or should they be kept separate in order to ensure they get enough attention? That's still something that we will continue to work upon. You will soon find a more elaborate report on the results of the Knowledge Café that we will publish on the LIBER website. Next slide. In the months to come, we will continue to work on the LIBER strategy. It is one step beyond. Many others will be needed to face the challenges of the future. Where will LIBER be in 50 more years? 50 years is a lot in a human life. I don't think I'll be there anymore in 2071, but some of you younger colleagues will be. They may be part of a 2071 LIBER conference. Many things will happen in the meantime. Some we will see coming, others will come as a surprise. As I'm living in one of the countries most hit by climate change, I'd say that climate change will have hit us hard in these 50 years. In the center of Europe, our glaciers will be gone. Weather was erratic in the last days in some of our European countries, for example, in Czechia, but also in Switzerland. We will probably see more of that in the years to come. We will have to take care of the security of our collections, of our print collections, due to the impact of these erratic weathers, the impact of floods or heats. And we have to take care of our digital collections due to the possibility to fake the news and the past on the present digital items. What we do in the years to come will be most important to lower the risk and manage the future of our communities. It is not a question of simple decorum to take the greatest care that scientific knowledge is open to everyone. Public engagement will be key to preserve our societies, but also to preserve nature. So let's open the knowledge and work for a European community capable of responding to these challenges in an efficient, knowledgeable, and coordinated way. That's what I take with me at the end of this Belgrade conference. Now I'll hand over to our Belgrade colleagues and host, Professor Jerkov and fellow colleague Adam Zofronijevic, for their closing words.
It's always sad and in a certain way sweet moment when we depart. Sad because we won't see each other maybe for a year, and sweet that we have a year and ahead of us to look forward and to think what shall we do good in Odense. There are three of us, as you can see, Adam, myself, and the guy who helped us found this library standing behind. I guess he's quite pleased. I don't know about you, but he's quite pleased, and he made a nod with his bronze head that it was good. Of course, we wished if it was only possible that you have been in Belgrade, but it was not possible, and that's it. It's 40 degrees in Belgrade, you would enjoy that with us, for sure. But even that you have been virtually in Belgrade, you have been really with LIBER. LIBER is such a good conference and such a group of people who are working so hard. So we are so much thankful to you that you gave us a chance, that we do our best and to struggle, to learn a little bit about the organization and to contribute as much as we could in those circumstances. So we found this experience valuable, and we think that we will be able to contribute to this great LIBER community in years to come. Please do come to Belgrade, be our guests, and think about us and everything that we wish to achieve in a way that as if it has happened and it was real. Perhaps maybe in future we'll all live more in virtual reality, so this might be only the beginning in this direction. And saying this so in a few words, I would like to say I have followed some of the sessions, and I would say that the library world and the library knowledge and the library science is advancing, and that is a good foundation on which we can build in years to come. So thank you very much for this opportunity. Hope to see you again next year, and we will be part of you as much as we can.
Yes, and I may add that, as always, LIBER conference was of the forefront of the contemporary world, and this was a journey for us. Corona prevented us from having a conference last year. It was a virtual conference. This year it's a virtual conference with the host. So next year, hopefully, it will be the true conference in Odense. And at this moment, we wish to hand the flag even virtually, as is custom at the LIBER conference. So at this moment, we're handing the flag. So, dear friends in Odense, have a great experience with the LIBER conference. Hopefully not that on the forefront of the contemporary world as we did, but the usual standard best LIBER conference possible.
And sometime in September, Adam and I will come over there and bring you the flag.
Many thanks, Professor Jerkov and Adam, for this wonderful virtual bringing up the flag. Thank you for all the team, the organizing team in Belgrade. You are great, and as a host, virtual and for sure physical too, and for sure will come to Belgrade and profit also for the wonderful landscape and the wonderful launches that you do in Belgrade. We had this experience, and all of you who didn't experience it beforehand, you have to experience it, because it's a place where you can eat very nicely also. So thank you very much for the hosting. Now we say bye-bye to Belgrade and hello to LIBER 2022 in Odense. So let's go for the presentation, and I will say bye-bye to you too, and hand over to Charlotte of the Danish organization team in Odense and the University of Southern Denmark Library. Charlotte, hand over.
Thank you, Astrid. Once upon a time, there was a research library situated in the fairy tale town of Odense in the little green kingdom of Denmark. It was a magic library staffed with 110 eager employees who wanted their clients to be happy, to have access to all they needed and much more, and to be at forefront with all developments in the field. But to be at the forefront, they had to know what everybody else in the library business were doing. Therefore, the library director went out on a quest seeking the sources of knowledge in this matter. And lo and behold, he found them in LIBER. He hurried back like a little honeybee who has found plenty of nectar, signaling to his staff to follow him to Helsinki, to Patras, to Lille, to Dublin, and online in Hague and Belgrade. Some of them immediately followed, and they too found LIBER to be a rich source of inspiration, strengthening their network, providing inspiration for the daily work, a forum for high-quality research in library and information science, and a place to meet new great friends. Those that came with the library director immediately engaged themselves in the work for and with LIBER. The library director became a member of the executive board, and his followers engaged themselves in the Emerging Leaders Program, in the working groups of Innovative Metrics, the one on citizen science, and of course the conference program committee. The more engaged they became, the more vividly would they describe to their friends at home how wonderful and enlightening working with and for LIBER was. After a while, all 110 staffers wanted to go, and the library director so much wanted to send them all off so that they could have a taste of LIBER too. But even though it was a rich and very well-equipped library located at the heart of a high-ranked university, he could not afford sending them all away. That made him very sad. So he started wondering how could he ensure that all 110 library busy bees could have a taste of LIBER. He wondered and wondered, but couldn't come up with an answer until one day a bright young new hire, Daniela, said, "Why don't you invite LIBER to come and visit us instead then?" "Eureka!" he shouted, "let it be. Will you, Daniela, prepare an invitation to them and make it so convincing that they will all come?" "Sure," she said, and wrote a letter to LIBER King John and his Queen Jeanette, explaining that the University Library of Southern Denmark is the second largest research library in the kingdom, and how this library has been moving fast forward with great many new initiatives. And she added information about the city of Odense, how this previously sleepy mid-sized provincial city today is like a young teenager developing at a rapid pace. Today it is the Center for Robot Technology. It hosts service farms for Facebook and is expected to be the home of Amazon too. She explained how high-tech computer companies, drone technology thrive in this area due to the extensive cooperation between researchers at our top modern university and the private sector in the area, and how the university in this way is the pivotal point of all development in the area. She went on to describe how this university, with its 32,000 students, 6 campuses and 1,800 faculties, has become a knowledge hub in our region. And having described this, she went on to describe how this development has taken place not in opposition with, but rather in cooperation with the romantic fairy tale city that was the birthplace of Hans Christian Andersen, and which still has many houses, not only from his era, but also an extensive amount of buildings dating back to the Middle Ages. She described how the small river of the city, with its lush green parks and refreshing cool climate, is a welcoming place for foreigners. How the city welcomes its visitor with a safe but vivid nightlife and lots of restaurants ranging from exquisite Michelin star quality to street food. And how easy and safe public transportation is with the new light rail that traverses the city. She forgot to mention that a brand new museum for Hans Christian Andersen will be inaugurated by June 30th in 2021, and that in July 2022, Le Tour de France will be starting in Denmark just a few days before the annual LIBER conference starts. Her letter was so convincing that King John and Queen Jeanette of LIBER and all their court from Hague agreed that the LIBER members should have a chance to come and see the wonders of Odense and the University Library of Southern Denmark. We, that is Bertil, Thomas, Najmeh, Daniela and I, and the remaining 105 library staffers are delighted to be able to welcome you all on the 6th to the 8th of July 2022 to the LIBER 2022 to be held in Odense. A very warm welcome to all of you from all of us. See you next year in Odense.
Far up north, a night travels through the forest. At this time of the year, the spring has already begun, and the morning rain makes the scent of spruce fill the air. The knight and his horse are traveling to explore the cities of the north. Soon they'll reach the end of the forest, and ahead of them lies the lands of the island Funen. Soon they'll see the rooftops of a great northern city, Odense.
Denmark's third largest city, a beautiful place with around 200,000 citizens. A city full of culture and a history that stretches more than 4,000 years back in time. Together with the city's deep historical roots, it also thrives in modern times and is a famous location for modern technology. In this adventurous city, also the famous fairy tale writer Hans Christian Andersen was born.
Once upon a time, there was a little mermaid who lived in the big blue ocean.
From the edge of the forest to the core of the city, the knight travels further into the eastern part of Odense. Here he finds the great University of Southern Denmark. This place of knowledge houses more than 30,000 students distributed between 5 faculties. And not to forget, the University of Southern Denmark contains one of the country's largest research libraries. And the head of this library is a man of great power who takes great responsibility, and he wishes to welcome you to the LIBER conference of 2022.